Hi there, I'm Michelle Ward, also known as the When I Grow Up coach, and I get to help creative types devise the career that they think they can't have or discover it to begin with. And that's awesome. I love being the When I Grow Up coach because I get to help people like you. And people like you were probably people that were just like me a few years ago. I got here because I was a Broadway baby. I wanted to be on Broadway more than life itself. Musical theater was my food, my water, my air, my lungs, my iPhone, anything that's super important to you is what it was for me. And if you would tell me that when I was 32 years old, I would be a life coach, if you told me that when I was 15, I probably would laugh in your face because I was determined to make it happen. I had a dream, I had a passion, I had the motivation, and when I got into NYU Tisch School of the Arts for musical theater, I was like, oh, I have the key. This is it. This is my ticket in. This is going to unlock every door. And well, there were a lot of doors that were left unlocked. There were doors that were open that were really cool. Ones where I got to perform on a cruise ship for 8 months. Ones where I got to be an extra on Saturday Night Live. One where I got to live in a mansion in Key West for 3 months, and someone paid me to do all those things. And that's the glamorous side of it. That was the really fun, awesome side. And the other side was, a lot of shows that weren't very good, that I wouldn't even necessarily tell my own mother where they were located when the show was on. She always found it, but there were a lot of opportunities where it was, hey, do you want to go down to Florida for $200 a week in 2 days and be there for 8 weeks and do Peter Pan? By the time I was 25, 26, no, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but thank you anyway. So it got to the point where when I was in my mid to late 20s, I realized that the grown-up me was not the same as the juvenile me. And even though it was so difficult, it took me a very long time, probably about a year, to look in the mirror and to tell the 12-year-old me that it was time to walk away from that dream. And not necessarily stop performing forever, because I still do perform and it's awesome, but to not chase that as my career. I'm getting teared up about it now. It's hard. It's really hard because that was my whole life, and it was such a big part of my identity too, that I thought if I don't have this, then who am I? That great big question. And I think because I was someone who was so determined to go after my creative dream, and my creative dream was wrapped up in my career, well, it was just absolutely unacceptable for me to not find something that I could be passionate about. So even though I eventually came to terms with, after my grieving, after my wavering, after my just going through the motions, because I'm going through the motions, I came to terms with the fact that, okay, well, let's just see. Maybe I don't know everything. Maybe there is something out there I could be passionate about, and let's try to find it. And let's have it be stable, and let's have it give me a salary that someone else pays me, and let it have benefits and all of that good, grown-up stuff that I thought I needed. And at the time that I came to that realization, I was at a grown-up job. I was doing a customer service type job. I was great with the clients. They loved me. I knew I was a relationship builder. I knew I was organized. I did good work. And while the company itself was a pretty cool one to work for, my boss was the biggest nightmare ever. And it got to the point where my breaking point, I remember, was one morning when I was on the subway heading into the office, and I had gotten used to just feeling nauseous during those subway rides. It was just the norm for me, as I would feel nauseous in the morning until I got to the office and kind of just calmed down and saw my boss wasn't there, or he was in a good mood that day or something. And there was one morning in particular where I felt so sick to my stomach that I had to run off the train, the stop before mine, and dry heave, as gross as that is, into a garbage can on the platform. So I figured I was really sick, and I got I got out of the subway, I got onto the street, I walked the dozen or so blocks to the office, I picked up my BlackBerry, I picked up my laptop, and I said, I'm gonna go home to work, I'm not feeling well, I just dry heaved on the subway, it was disgusting, and I went to leave. And the second I walked out of that office building, I felt fine. And I knew that there was a big, big problem. And it was not okay for me to feel this way, and it was not okay for me to live my life this way, and it not only was not okay, it was unacceptable. So I enrolled at NYU School of Continuing Ed to their career change workshops. I did, all the tests. I took all the assessments. I took it in a big group setting. There wasn't a lot of one-on-one work. And even though I went in there thinking about life coaching and dismissing it because it wasn't stable, and also because I didn't want people to think I was a hippie, and I had the notion that all life coaches were hippies who read crystals and tell you your zodiac signs. I thought that wasn't going to be, I was pushing that out of my mind. But the more I did the tests, the more I thought, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is something I could be passionate about. And of course, much to my dismay, but also excitement, it was my passion. It clicked. And I realized I needed to set myself up to be successful at this, especially if I was going to be an entrepreneur, idiots, and make this work for myself as my own boss. So the very same month that I started my life coaching classes at International Coach Academy, where I got certified, was the very same month that I started at a new job. I repositioned my resume, and I met with a bunch of recruiters, and I took a bunch of different tests, and I got placed at a financial consulting company, believe it or not, as an executive assistant. They paid my salary. I clocked in at 9. I clocked out at 6. Usually no one was yelling at me during the day and being verbally abusive, usually, but at this point I could pretty much handle it. And it was just the perfect place to go do what I had to do, and then get back home and get on my coaching calls, talk with my clients, build my website, start writing on my blog, be on Twitter, and I did things at once. I did that for 2 years and 7 months. I got engaged and married at that time. And 2 years and 7 months later, March 19th, 2010, was the last day at the executive assistant job. And here I am, a full-time creative career coach, totally devoted and living my passionate life and being here to help creative types that were just like me. I live now in Brooklyn with my husband. We have an apartment here. It's fantastic. I love it, and I would love to accompany you on your journey to figuring out what you want to be when you grow up. And even if you know what that is, if you've already taken the steps and figured out what it is, but you don't know how to get there, I could help with that too. So feel free to email me, to set up a consultation call, whatever you need for me to answer your questions. I'm here. I'm more than happy to do it. And I really hope to hear from you soon. Thanks for listening.